to come. Hello, my beautiful people. And today we're going to be dealing with the topic compound interest. Compound interest. But before I go into the compound interest, I think I'll do a quick revision of what you have done earlier under arithmetic in the home and office, which is the simple interest. The simple interest. If you recall, to calculate the simple interest, the formula is principal times rate times time. And we usually write that as okay. So we take a quick question on that. I'm going to go over this because I want you to be very familiar with the terms when we move on to the compound interest. If you were asked to calculate the interest on 60,000 naira, that means your principal is 60,000 naira. Remember, you always have to state the terms and the elements before you go on. If you were asked to calculate the interest on 60,000 naira at the rate of 9%, so your R is 9% for 5 years, your time is 5 years. That will simply be 60,000 times 9 times 5 over 100. And the answer to that is 27,000 naira. The interest on 60,000 naira for 5 years at the rate of 9% is 27,000 naira. If you save money in a bank, the bank would give you an interest. Remember that the interest is different from the principal which you saved. So I'm introducing another element which will lead us also into our compound interest, which is the amount. So at the end of 5 years, you're going to be given an amount of money. And how do we calculate that? That is our principal together with our interest. In this case, 60,000 plus 27,000, which is 87,000 naira. Now, let's move on. If you saved money in a bank or you borrowed money from a bank, for the ease of calculation, let's just say you saved 1,000 naira at the rate of 10%. At the end of each year, you're going to get an interest. And if you calculate that, that's going to be 1,000 times 10 times 1 all over 100. And that gives us 100 naira at the end of each year, at the end of year 1. If you remove your 100 naira and you leave your 1,000 naira in the bank, the following year you get another 100 naira. Year 2, so you get another 100 naira. And year 3, you get another 100 naira, and so on and so forth. However, if you choose not to take out the 100 naira, that means at the end of year 1, your money in the bank would have amounted, remember the amount, to 1,000 plus 100, which is now 1,100 naira. 1,100 naira. In year 2, if you wanted to calculate your interest, you would not calculate interest on 1,000, but on 1,100 naira. That means in year 2, your interest would be 1,100 times 10% for 1 year all over 100. I believe you're still with me. And in year 2, your interest becomes 110 naira. Year 3, remember, the new interest is 110. And the principal you had at the beginning of year 2 is 1,100. So you actually saved 1,100 and you have earned an interest of 1,110 naira. So the amount at the end of year 2 is 1,100 plus 110, which will give us 0, 1, 2, 1,210. That means in year 3, you would be calculating your interest again on 1,210, which gives us this, times 10% times 1 all over 100. So if you cancel it out again, you would have 121 naira at the end of year 3. If you ask the bank, oh, I'm not saving again, I'm happy, I want to go home, I need my money, the bank would give you this amount, 1210 plus 121, right? And would have 1331. This is the whole premise of the compound interest. With compound interest, you do not calculate straight on the 5-year period, but rather you calculate it on the intervals. You pick the money and you calculate for each. Your money grows, the interest grows on your money at regular intervals. So for each year, you have a little bit of growth on your money. So basically, what we have learned is how to compound money. This is what actually happens in reality. It is a bit unfair in business terms to just give you interest on the whole amounts on a straight basis, because the interest element that you get each year is not really being considered. So let's move on to compound interest computations. Let's take another example. If you were asked to calculate the compound interest, the interest on 60,000 naira again at the rate of 8% for 2 years. Remember, principal 60,000, rates 8%, or you say 8 over 100, right? And then you have your time, which is 2 years. So in the first year, year 1, you would calculate the interest using our normal formula for calculating the simple interest, and that gives us 60,000 times 8 times 1. You're calculating only for one interval. You won't calculate the 2 years at a stretch. This would give you now for year 2, you already have an interest of 4,800 naira. Before you move on to year 2, you have to find out the amount, which is again principal plus interest. 60,000 plus 4,800 will give you 64,800 naira. So in year 2, you would be calculating your interest on 64,800 times 8 times 1 over 100. And that would give you an interest of 5,184. This is the interest. So at the end of year 2, your interest is 5,184. If the question says, how much compound interest would you get? Remember that I always tell you that you should check what the question is asking. In that case, you pick out the interest element for each year. So your interest at the end of year 2 for 2 years is going to be 5,184 plus 4,800, and that's going to give you 9,984. Another way to look at that, year 2 amount would have been 64,800 plus 5,184, which would have given you again 69,984. So for you to get out the interest element, you would have just said your original investment, which is 60,000, you will take it out of this. So interest is 69,984 less 60,000, which will still give us 9,984. And that is all there is to it. If you had to calculate the compound interest for 3 years or 4 years, you would have to do this for each of the years. That's it. I've sent you some questions. You can practice on them. Take out time to try out about 7 to 10 questions from the question banks sent to you earlier.